Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayana Namaskritya Naram Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiriye Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 48, Krishna pleases his devotees. Text number 21 onwards. So yesterday we studied how Krishna and Balram went to Akrurji's house in Mathura, and Akrurji welcomed them, bathed their lotus feet, and offered them garland, chandan, everything. And then now Akrurji is offering his prayers to the Lord. सृजस्यथो लुम्पसि पासि विश्वं रजस्तमः सत्त्वगुणैः स्वशक्तिभिः न बध्यसे तद्गुण कर्म भेर्वा ज्ञानात्मनस्ते क्वच बंध हेतु. You create, destroy, and also maintain this universe with your personal energies, the modes of passion, ignorance, and goodness. Yet you are never entangled by these modes or the activities they generate. Since you are the original source of all knowledge, what could ever cause you to be bound by illusion? The phrase Jnana Atmanaste Kvacha Bandha Het, since you are constituted of knowledge, what could be a cause of bondage for you? Definitely indicates the obvious that the omniscient Supreme God is never an illusion. Never. Therefore, the impersonalistic or Nirakar, Nirvisheshadi theory that we are all God but have forgotten and are now in illusion is refuted here in the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam. So Krishna can never be an illusion. Energy is one of his energies. They can never overpower Krishna or God. So we are never God. We are never going to become God. We were never God. We are not God. Krishna is God. Dehadyupadhare nirupitatvad bhavona sakshan vidatmanasya atona bandhastava neva mokshaha syatam nikamastvai no avivekaha. Since it has never been demonstrated that you are covered by material bodily designations, it must be concluded that for you there is neither birth in a literal sense nor an individuality. Therefore, you never undergo bondage or liberation, and if you appear to, it's only because of your desire that we see you in that way, or simply because of our lack of discrimination. Here Akrura states that two reasons why the Lord appears to be covered by a material form or to take birth like a human being. First, when Lord Krishna executes his pastimes, his loving devotees think of him as a beloved child, friend and lover and so on. In the ecstasy of this loving reciprocation, they do not think of Krishna as God. For example, because of her extraordinary love for him, Mother Yashoda worries that Krishna will be injured in the forest. That she feels this way is a desire of the Lord, which is here indicated by the word nikama. The second reason the Lord may appear material is indicated by the word aviveka, simply because of ignorance, a lack of discrimination. One may understand the position of the personality of God, or one may misunderstand the position because we just don't know anything. In the 11th canto of Bhagavatam and Lord Krishna's discussion with Sri Uddhava, the Lord elaborately discusses his transcendental position beyond bondage and liberation. As stated in Vedic literature, Deha Dehi Vibhago Ayam Naishwara Vidyate Kvachit. There is never a distinction of body and soul in the Supreme Lord. In other words, Shri Krishna's body is eternal, spiritual, omniscient, and the reservoir of all pleasure. So in 11th canto, there is a conversation between Krishna and Uddhavji, and that is famously known as Uddhav Gita. So before Krishna left unmanifested his pastimes, he gave this knowledge to Uddhavji. And actually, Uddhav also asked him, what message, what knowledge did you give to Arjun in the battlefield? Then Krishna spoke this Uddhav Gita. Well, it is known as Uddhav Gita, the conversation later on. And it's again very high in philosophy. And Krishna gave that message to Uddhavji, and then he unmanifested his message. Tvayodito ayam jagato hitaya yada yada veda patha purana badhet pashanda pathara saddhis tada bhavan sattva gunam vibharti. You originally enunciated the ancient religious path of the Vedas for the benefit of the whole universe. Whenever that path becomes obstructed by wicked persons following the path of atheism, you assume one of your incarnations, which are all in the transcendental mode of goodness. So whenever that path becomes obstructed, means the religious path of Vedas, which is for the benefit of the whole universe. But as the time passes, and since we are in the material world and in the illusory world, in the world of ignorance, we forget. And Krishna himself appears, or he sends his representatives, or he sends his literatures. Somehow or other, he has to send the instructions for us to come back on the path of Dharma, so that we rectify ourselves and go back to Godhead. Not that eternally he will throw us in hell and that we just burn there in hell eternally. There's no such thing as eternal hell or eternal heaven. Material world, everything is temporary. Only eternity is in spiritual world, where only the pure souls can enter. So this place is for our rectification, not for our enjoyment, not for our fear that, okay, if I do this wrong, I'll be eternally suffering, burning in hell. No. Yes, if we do something wrong, we'll get punished. But again, Krishna is so merciful. He'll give us a chance again. And this is why he sends. He comes as incarnation, so he sends his representatives to take us, to motivate us, to encourage us, to inspire us to go back to God. Satvam Prabhu Adya Vasudeva Grihe Avatirana Swanshen Bharam Apane Tum Ihasi Bhume Akshohini Shatavadhena Suretaransha Ragyam Amushya Chakulasya Yasho Vitanman. You are that very same Supreme Person, my Lord, and you have now appeared in the home of Vasudeva with your plenary portion, Balramji. You have done this to relieve the earth's burden by killing hundreds of armies led by kings or expansions of the demigods' enemies, and also to spread the fame of your dynasty. The term Suretaransha Ragyam indicates that the demoniac kings slain by Krishna were in fact expansions or incarnations of the enemies of demigods. This fact is elaborately explained in the Mahabharata, which reveals the specific identities of the demoniac kings. Of course, Akrurji could see what's going to happen in the future. So far, he hasn't killed any demoniac kings, only the demons in Vrindavan he had killed. Or Kansa, only king he has killed so far is Kansa. Addeshno vasataya khalu bhuri bhaga ya sarva deva pitri bhuta nrideva murti yad pada shocha salilam trijagat punati satam jagat guru adhokshajaya pravishtaha. Today, O Lord, my home has become most fortunate because you have entered it as a supreme truth. You embody the forefathers, ordinary creatures, human beings, and demigods. And the water that has washed your feet purifies the three worlds. Indeed, O transcendent one, you're the spiritual master of the universe. Srila Siddha Swami has nicely interpreted Akrura's feelings as follows. Akrura said, "My Lord, although I am a householder, today my home has become more pious than the forest where sages perform austerities. Why? Simply because you have entered my home. Indeed, you are the personification of the deities who preside over the fire sacrifices a householder must perform daily to atone for unavoidable violence committed to the living beings in the home. You're the spiritual truth behind all these creations, and you have now entered my home." So, Srila Swami has said a householder must perform 5 sacrifices daily. Why? To atone for unavoidable violence committed to living entities. So many times when we are cleaning, we kill so many living entities. When we are eating, we are killing. When we are walking, we are killing. When we are just getting our maybe atta, there's so many living entities get killed in that way. And we are so 5 sacrifices has to be done. Of course, Srila Prabhupada gave us the best process. Chant. Offer everything to the deity, to Krishna before you eat. That's it. He takes away all the sinful reactions and adds his mercy to it. Then it becomes prasad. So we eat prasad. So the 5 sacrifices that are mentioned in the Vedas are: first, sacrifice to Brahman by studying the Vedas. Second, sacrifice to the forefathers by making offerings to them. Third, sacrifice to all creatures by putting aside a portion of one's meals. So this charity is very, very important. Four, sacrifice to human beings by extending hospitality. And 5, sacrifice to the demigods by performing fire sacrifices and so on. But in Kali Yuga, since Chaitanya Mahaprabhu knew we are so fallen, so he just said, just chant. That's all. Kirtanya Sada Hari. Text 26. Ka pandisat tvad param sharanam samiya the bhakta priya drit girah suhridah kritagyat sarvan dadati suhrido bhajto abhikaman atmanam api upachaya pachayo na yasya. What learned person would approach anyone but you for shelter when you are the affectionate, grateful, and truthful well-wisher of your devotees? To those who worship you in sincere friendship, you reward everything they desire, even your own self, yet you never increase or diminish. So there is nobody more affectionate, more well-wishing than Krishna. This verse describes both the Lord and his devotees as Suhrida, well-wisher. The Lord is a well-wisher of his devotee, and the devotee lovingly desires all happiness for the Lord. Even in this world, an excess of love may sometimes produce unnecessary solicitude. For example, we often observe that a mother's loving concern for her adult child is not always justified by an actual danger to the child. A grown child may be wealthy, competent, and healthy, and yet the mother's loving concern continues. Similarly, a pure devotee always feels loving concern for Lord Krishna, as exemplified by Mother Yashoda, who could only think of Krishna as her beautiful son. Lord Krishna had promised Akrura that after killing Kansa, he would visit his home, and now the Lord kept his promise. Akrura recognizes this and glorifies the Lord as Rit Gira, one who is Rit Gira, one who is true to his word. The Lord is Kritagya, grateful for whatever little worship a devotee offers. And even if the devotee forgets, the Lord does not. So any little service, any little worship we offer to Krishna, always remembers, always, everything remembers. And he reciprocates very nicely. Dishtya Janardhan Bhavani Nah Pratito Yogeshwarairapi Durapagati Suresha Chindayashu Na Sut kalatra dhanapta geha, dehadi mohish rashanam bhavadiya maya. It is by our great fortune, Janardhan, that you're now visible to us. For even the masters of yoga and the foremost demigods can achieve this goal only with great difficulty. Please quickly cut the ropes of our illusory attachment for children, wife, wealth, influential friends, home, and body. All such attachment is simply the effect of your illusory material energy. And this Maya works in such a way that because of our attachment, we are dependent, or we think these, as in second canto of Bhagavad Gita, they said they are the fallible soldiers, children, wife, wealth, spouse, or friends, home, body. These are all fallible soldiers. They all will fall away. Only protector is Krishna. But the Maya makes us think by being in the company or protection of these, I'll be saved. Everything will be fine for me. Iti archita sanstutash bhakten bhagwan hari akruram sasmitam praha girvi samohayan niva. Shukdev Goswami continued, thus worshipped and fully glorified by his devotee, the Supreme Lord Hari smilingly addressed Akrura, completely charming him with his words. Shri Bhagwan Uvacha, Tvam no Guru Pritri Vayapyascha Shlagya Bandhuscha Nityada Vayam tu Rakshaya Poshyascha Anukampaya Prajahiva. The Supreme Lord said, you are our spiritual master, paternal uncle, and praiseworthy friend, and we are like your sons, always dependent on your protection, sustenance, and compassion. And this is what Krishna is telling Akruraji. We are dependent on your protection, sustenance, and compassion. Bhavat vidha mahabhaga nishevya arha sattama shreyas kamer niribhir nityam deva swarthana sadhava. Exalted souls like you are the true objects of service and the most worshipable authorities for those who desire the highest goal in life. Demigods are generally concerned with their own interests, but saintly devotees never are. Whereas demigods may award material benefits, saintly devotees of the Lord have power to award the real perfection of life, Krishna consciousness. Thus, Lord Krishna reinforces the respectful mood he has adopted here toward his uncle, Akrura. So, devotees, that's why devotees are very dear to the Lord, because they give what even demigods cannot. Nahiyam mayani tirthani na devam mrichila maya ne te punanti rukalena darshana deva sadhava. No one can deny that there are holy places with sacred rivers, so that the demigods appear in deity forms made of earth and stone. But these purify the soul only after a long time, whereas saintly persons purify just by being seen. So that's what that verse has come. Sadhu is that name. That lava matra sadhu sangha sarva shastra. The sadhu sangha, the association with saintly persons, even lava matra, 1/14th of a second, even this is good enough to transform the heart of a person. But the holy places with sacred rivers takes long time to purify one. So Bhavan Suhridam Vaina Shreyan Shreyascha Kirshaya Jigyasartham Pandavanam Gachasvatvam Gajavayam. You are indeed the best of our friends. So please go to Hastinapur, and as the well-wisher of the Pandavas, find out how they are doing. Now comes the whole foundation of Mahabharata. In Sanskrit, the imperative you go may be rendered by gachasva or gacha. In the second of these cases, the word following gacha, namely sva, which is taken in the vocative sense, indicates Krishna addressing Akrura as our own. This is in reference to Lord Krishna's intimate relationship with his uncle. So he is sending Akrura to Hastinapur from Mathura to check out how Pandavas are doing. So Krishna knows everything. It's not that he is omniscient. But this is his way of engaging his devotees in the service and giving the devotees the credit for doing the service. Pitarayuparate bala swasah matra sudukhita anita swapuram ragya vasant iti shushrushum. We have heard that when their father passed away, father means Maharaj Pandu, the young Pandavas were brought with their anguished mother to the capital city by King Dhritarashtra, and that they are now living there. Teshu Rajambika putro bhratri putreshu dinadhi samo na vartate nunam dushputra putravashog shagun adhrik. Indeed, weak-minded Dhritarashtra, the son of Ambika, has come under the control of his wicked sons, and therefore that blind king is not treating his brother's sons fairly. Gach janihi tadvritam adhuna sadva sadhuva vigyaya tadvidhasyamo yathasham suhridam bhavet. Go and see whether Dhritarashtra is acting properly or not. When we find out, we'll make necessary arrangements to help our dear friends. So, see, Krishna is always thinking of his devotees to make sure they're all okay, and he's ready to take care of his devotees every time, anytime, all the time. He's clearly saying here, when we find out, of course, Krishna knows, we'll make necessary arrangements to help our dear friends. He's not going to just let anybody harm his devotees. There's no way. Just that faith we have to develop. Iti akruram samadishya bhagwan haririshvara sankarshanodbhava bhatyam vah tatah svabhavanam yayo. Thus fully instructing Akrura, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari then returned to his residence, accompanied by Lord Sankarshan and Uddhav. So thus ends the purport to 10th canto, 48th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Krishna Pleases His Devotees. So today we'll start the new chapter, chapter 49. So we'll stop here, see anybody has any questions or comments. Okay, so you all have a safe and wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Ram.
Hare